Welcome to the Grawlix podcast or Grawlix Nights. Same thing. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's the live show. I'm Randy.
I'm Melanie.
And I'm Jesse.
How's it going, everybody? We're back. We're here, and we're pretty close to right on time. Kind of.
Yeah.
Closer than usual.
We're about 15 minutes late.
Yeah. I'd say we're 15 minutes early.
It depends on your perspective.
Suddenly it makes sense why we're always starting the stream so late. Hey, you guys. Here's what's on the agenda. Last week we talked about a wonderful woman. Or two. Who? So this week, that was so bad. So this week.
But the thing is that it was already perfect the way it was.
Yeah.
You're right. As long as you don't lie.
Right.
No, it's not even don't lie. It's got to be true. It's the truth. They didn't really talk about lying. It's just true. Grawlix Nights Podcats. Yes. That's about right. That's about right. So
it's like a polecat in the Catskills.
So I believe it was Melanie last week at the end of the episode or whenever came up with the idea. Okay, so for this week, let's flip it. Let's go the other way. And let's do less than wonderful women. Let's do evil women. So tonight we're going to discuss some movies and TV shows and various things about villainous ladies. Chicks with ice picks, as Melanie said.
Yeah.
And that's the main objective. So, hey, what's going on with you two? Watched anything exciting lately? By the way, hi, Paul.
Hello. I watched some Star Trek.
Oh, you watched some Star Trek?
Yeah, I finished up Star Trek Discovery Season 3. I feel like I watched something before that, but that's the one that's sticking in my mind. It was all right. It was good. But I like Star Trek Discovery, and so your mileage may vary. There's plenty of people who hate it.
Right.
Hate it.
Yeah, I've heard good things from you. Negative things from other places. Everywhere else. Not everywhere else. Like, it's still going. I don't think everybody hates it, but I feel like there's a large portion of the Trekkies, the diehards, that do not enjoy it. They don't like it. But whatever. That's right. True of all things. Trekkies don't like all kinds of things. I feel like this is a very low energy episode tonight.
Sorry.
We're starting low, yeah. But we're just building up.
When you start low, you then go high. Is that the expression?
Is it?
No.
Okay.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think it's the opposite. It's like when it goes up must come down.
Is that Sisyphus? Is that the one that pushes a boulder up a mountain?
It does feel. You know what? That does feel like Grawlix podcast oftentimes.
Just, mythical or mythical.
That's a good way to put it. So you watch some Star Trek. I actually haven't watched a whole lot. Melanie and I, despite what we said last week, despite me saying I was not going to watch Cobra Kai with Melanie anymore because I didn't enjoy the experience. Did we talk about that on episode?
I don't know, but
a little bit, because that was like the main thing I'd watch over the break.
Well, I feel like maybe we only got maybe 2 episodes. We got a couple episodes in. We started season 2, which actually I had yet to have started. I was waiting for it to hit Netflix.
So solid, so.
And now season 3's out, so I was like, well, but we started watching it together, so I changed my mind. I decided I could put up with Melanie's trashing it as we watch it.
I can't help it. There's just that some people's faces I can't stand to look at, and I don't want to have to anymore. I don't like that person.
Dimitri?
Wait, who's Dimitri? I remember.
He's the nerdy kid. Yelp review. Necromancer.
No, he's not that. Not that face. It's a different face. I have weird face issues.
Which ones though? I want to know which people. You don't
Huh?
have to remember their names. Just like what are they? What are their roles?
Mostly it's
I want their names.
It's Johnny's son. I can't stand his face.
Oh, wow.
Him. I can't stand his face. He always looks like he's trying not to smile, and I don't like it. I just want his. I don't like his face, and which means I don't like him. And I don't know what they're trying to do with him, but I'm like, I hope they're trying to make me like him because I don't. But I'm still in the beginning of whatever. I don't know. Maybe I will learn to love his face, but right now I can't stand it.
You're gonna go on a journey with Robbie.
Okay.
It's still going. The journey's still happening. But yeah.
Is it? Never mind. Go ahead. I didn't watch anything except for.
Cobra Kai.
Yeah, I watched Cobra Kai, and then I watched a movie that I thought was going to be about bad women, but it wasn't about a bad woman. But it wasn't about a bad woman. It was like a self-defense woman. So you can watch it if you want. It was called.
Weird with.
Was it like Revenge or something? Didn't you say?
Yes, it was called Revenge. It was called Revenge, but it was not revenge. It was self-defense. That's my review of the movie.
Oh, okay. That was on Shudder, right?
Yes, that was on Shudder.
And I think that did the poster have like the neon text type look?
I don't remember, but the chick had a big star. She had like a gem earring in, like a big giant star.
So I could be wrong. But I feel like.
Sorry, Savannah. Yeah, I watched The Greasy Strangler too.
Okay, well, we'll get to the comments. I haven't been able to address them yet.
Fine.
Randy's getting annoyed pretty early. I was trying to say, I believe that is a Shudder original or something. I was just trying to point people to it because that's such a generic title. But I've kind of found that with Shudder, like there's a bunch of Shudder like original films, or at least films that they picked up for distribution that have like very generic titles, and it's like, okay, well, that's the one on Shudder. Was it good?
It wasn't horrible. It was interesting, I suppose. Not necessarily very original or realistic. But it was flashy. There was a lot of blood. And it was directed by a woman, it was better than Wonder Woman 84.
Better than Patty. Isn't Patty Jenkins like Oscar nominated or something?
That's because they so did you see that news? They submitted Wonder Woman 1984 for everything.
Well, of course they did. There's no competition.
Right. It's one of the few movies that were made at the end of 2020.
Okay, so real quick, Paul had said he's watching. First, he said Robbie from
Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai looks like Sean from Boy Meets World. I'll take it.
And I will agree with that.
He's got, and I wanted to comment on Robbie's face. I get it because that's his face. He was cast because he looks like the bully or the jerk kid. He's got that face, and he has to know it. He's got
kind of like a punchable James Dean face. Like if you were James Dean, I would want to punch you.
Right. It's like
a very young Dennis Hopper,
but worse. I feel like, I mean, he knows that's what he looks like, right?
He's got to.
Well, if he didn't before, he will.
I feel
that's what Cream does.
I'm sure there's like scientific reasons. Be like, well, his eyes are too small, and the placement's they're too close together or too far apart. Or not too.
CGI. He actually is James Dean,
and his angles are too like. I'm sure there's a scientific reason for why
it's called the uncanny valley.
I think it's called intuition, and he's probably a D-bag. Anyway, that makes
the D stands for dinosaur because he's a lizard man.
He's a lizard person.
Bag.
And so, but I do appreciate that. I mean, we're just at the beginning of season 2, but they'd already kind of established by the end of season 1, like, he is a misdirect of a character. He's supposed to look like a jerk. He's like the jerky bad kid, but it's pretty clear they wanted to take him, like, he's not a bad kid. He's an all right guy. So, I mean, if you go by actions, at this point, he's better than most of the other characters. He's a better dude than the Karate Kid. The Karate Kid's a jerk.
yeah. Especially early season 2. Yeah.
I feel like so far into the series, he's the most petty character.
Oh, for sure.
Paul also said he's watching A-Team. Is that a new A-Team? John Saxton guest starred in season 1, so it's not brand new because John Saxton is not around. But okay, or is that old A-Team?
I don't know. I don't remember John Saxon, but I don't remember a whole lot of like A-Team. That's the kind of thing I'd have to revisit.
Savannah says, for a long time, I couldn't stand Amy Poehler's face.
I kind of still can't. She always looks like she's trying not to go to the bathroom or something. You know what I mean?
Trying not to, yeah.
Like so she's like, I'm smiling, but really, I gotta go. Anyway.
I don't judge people by their looks. I'm not like that.
I mean, if you gotta go, you gotta go.
Savannah also requested Melanie. She mentioned talk about the Greasy Strangler.
Mm-hmm.
That is another thing you watched?
Yeah, I watched it.
That's the most Michael Cera answer ever.
It was a movie. It was a lot of old, saggy man parts and flatulence and grease. Lots of grease and a little bit of murder. It was probably not the worst. I mean, I don't think it was as bad as some movies I've watched in it, but I've watched some really bad movies, by the way. Like zombie cows from space. I don't remember that one. You remember that one? It's like baby zombie cows.
It was something about cow fetuses, zombified cow fetus. I don't know. It was, I remember. It was something.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was worse than the Greasy Strangler.
That's a very de-fetus attitude.
So Melanie is being pretty kind with her review. I'm gonna expose you, Melanie. You trashed this movie kind of.
I did
when Savannah's not around, you're not as kind with this movie because Savannah has been pimping this movie at us for months and like a year. I feel like. I watched the trailer. I can see what they're going for. It looks awful, but also like that's part of the point. And Melanie, you had mentioned something about it was like
John Waters.
Yeah, but not.
It was like John Waters and what was the other? Another weird. And I like weird. I do like weird. That was just a little too much.
Sorry to sell you out, Melanie.
Well, Paul loves the Greasy Strangler.
I haven't watched it, so I don't know.
Yeah. But what did you watch? Or are we doing that yet?
No, yeah. I'm sorry. I don't know why I got so irritated. I was like, listen, Randy hasn't got enough. I already told you guys. I'm just going to tell the listeners and the viewers. Randy didn't get enough sleep, all right? Get off my case. Mom. I'm kidding. I felt very like teenage when I said get off my case. So my mom's a lovely lady. She hasn't yelled at me in years.
Yes.
What have I watched? Man, I've played The Sims. I'm gonna be honest. I bought The Sims 4, and that's where I live now. So let's talk for a second about The Sims 4. It's so irritating. This is like, God, EA. And I know The Sims kind of does this, and this is not going to be anything new to people who've played The Sims 4 because it's been out for like 7 years. The base game is so stripped down and kind of bare.
Oh, yeah. They did that on purpose.
They totally did that on purpose because they sell expansion packs for $40 a pop. That's the price of a new game. And they sell game packs, which are like stripped down expansion packs, less features, for like $20, and then stuff packs, which is just like a dozen items, 2 dozen items, some clothes, something like that, for like $10, $15 a piece.
Mm-hmm.
Savannah asks, yeah, I'm playing on PC. Oh, Savannah also said, Melanie had me start Legion, and let me say I'm excited about Audrey Plaza and Jermaine Clement acting together. It's going to be a whole gallon of weird. That show is so good.
Yeah, it is. And it is a whole gallon of weird.
I'm going to revisit the whole thing sometime, I think.
Or several leaders if you're in the metric system.
Yes.
A leader of weird.
I don't want a liter of cola.
So I hate that. And I'm sure it's not exclusively just because EA owns Maxis, but it's such an
EA for microtransactions.
People hate EA, but they're still doing it. Like just yesterday or the day before, they just released the new like paranormal stuff pack. And
I played with the paranormal stuff pack. That can't be new.
No,
or maybe that was no. Okay, never mind.
What
might have been for Sims 3.
Right. So that's kind of frustrating, but that is what it is. I knew that. Honestly, that's why I hadn't bought it sooner. But they had, a pretty good sale. So I got a bundle of like the deluxe version, which I think is just the regular version with a couple extra items, and the cats and dogs expansion. I played with that for a while. Then I downloaded some mods, played with that. Then I bought another couple expansions because they were still on sale, and I was like, there needs to be more stuff. So they got me, man. They got me. And even today I'm like, oh, man, I want this mod or this item, this like custom, like, because people do release a lot of custom content which you can download for free, and there are a lot of mods, and it's actually super easy with The Sims. You just drop it in a folder and it's good to go. But a lot of it, there's so many expansions and stuff, like you have to look at what each one requires because they have different dependencies on expansions. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I was like, even today I was like, I kind of want to get this expansion because there's a lot of like mods and stuff that depend on it. So, and then I looked and it's like, nope, half off sales over as of yesterday. I was like, of
course,
just as well. Yeah. So whatever. I'm enjoying The Sims because it's The Sims, but it's totally they got me.
One more turn.
Yeah.
Right.
2 hours later.
It's, dude, it is a time suck. Melanie's right. I was talking to Melanie yesterday and she was like, I don't know what to do. I could do this or this or this, or maybe try The Sim or play The Sims, blah, blah, blah. But she had said, Melanie, that you didn't want to jump into The Sims because then that's just where the whole day will go.
Yeah. Then I'm like, then none of the things that I need to get done will get done still. And I'll just have spent all day on The Sims because I know that that's what happens.
Oh, Savannah said they had ghosts in Sims 4 when she played on PC years ago. Yes, there are ghosts. Like when the Sims die and stuff, the ghosts are there and they roam around and haunt your plumbing and break it constantly, which is super annoying. And I'm like, you're my first Sim I made, but I kind of want to send you off into the ether, forever because I'm tired of you breaking my shower. Anyway.
Yeah.
But now, like, no, the stuff pack is like creepy items, which are just super colorful, kind of haunted house looking items. And I think hold seances now. It adds an activity for seances, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's my Sims talk. I just anybody who talks about, who played The Sims, they are probably tired of hearing that complaint, but that is the complaint. And that's what literally kept me from buying the game for years. And finally I was like,
so if I had the ability to make mods after you had a seance, those little creepy demons from the gate.
Yes.
Your Sims house.
Oh, that's something I want to revisit. Your brother? I think it was your brother. Which one was it? It was Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
posted about The Gate, and I was like, yeah, The Gate is great. Maybe we'll do a Gate episode.
We should. It's so bizarre. It's got to be just as creepy as I remember it. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's totally normal. But I think the reason it was so creepy is just how nonchalant some of it was. It was like, oh my God. Just like, oh, there's an eyeball in his hand.
That's
and
one
then
of the
how
things,
he reacts to the eyeball in the hand. Like,
that's one of the things that stuck with me from when I was a kid. Because it's kind of hard. Well, okay, watching it now, it's probably not that hardcore. But as a kid, I remember it being like surprisingly hardcore and kind of,
right.
You know, it sells the horror harder than a lot of kids-oriented movies do. And it stuck with me forever. And I found, like Jacob, that I tried to talk about that movie for years and nobody knew what it was. Nobody had heard about it. But, you know, it's the information age. So, like, everybody knows everything now. But, yeah, The Gate, it's great. It's got, what's his name? Stephen Dorff? What's his name? I always want to say Dwarf. The bad guy from the first Blade.
Yeah.
It's got him when he's like, I don't know, 11, 12, 13, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right.
Yeah.
I really can't think of anything else I've watched other than that. So we could probably move into the movie talk.
Mm-hmm. I can go first if you want. Mine's super short.
Okay.
I watched a 9-minute short called Cat Calls. And yes, Cat Calls. And there's some guy driving down the car, sounding creepy, breathing, and doing what, I don't know, creepy guy things. And then he pulls up to some chicks on the street, and he's all like, hey, can you help me? Can you give me directions? And they like come over, and like they're like, sure. And they like look in the window, and he's doing inappropriate things, and then speeds off, and you know, whatever. So then he goes home and gets out of his car, and as he walks off the street, you see a silhouette of a lady, and then it morphs into a cat. Or cat creature, and then he goes home and he's inside, and somebody knocks at the door. And then there's a girl at the door, and she's asking for help, and his wife is there or something, and he's like, I'll go look for the phone, and while he's in the other room, I'm telling you the whole thing. It's only 9 minutes though.
So spoiler on this?
Yeah, spoiler on this. So while he's in the other room, he hears a noise, and then everything in the other room goes quiet. So he comes back to look, and the phone is on the floor, and there's some blood there. So he goes. For some reason, he hears a noise. So he goes to the other way, and the back door's open. Then he hears another noise, and he goes that way, and he looks, and there's nothing. And then something comes at him. And so he runs out, and he gets to his car, and he opens the door, and then there's screaming and a blood squirt, and then the cops show up, and he's no more. And then it shows the chicks that he had exposed himself to earlier walking down an alleyway, and some dudes are like, hey, ladies, blah, blah, blah. And one of them like grabs at one of the girls, and then they turn at them and smile, and that's the end. Whole thing.
Was it good?
Yeah, it was fun.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I had actually come across this at some point too, looking around on there, and I don't remember why I didn't watch it. It's 9 minutes long, but by the way, hello Jasper. What's going on?
Hello.
Jasper watching on Twitch.
Jasper had some big news today. Congratulations, Mr. Jasper.
Right. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
There was something else. Paul asked, does Christine count as an evil woman movie?
No.
It's a car, but it does identify as Christine. So,
Mhm.
Does it really
or at
though?
least he identifies it as
Right.
as a female.
Yeah. So I don't think that counts.
Okay.
They always want to blame women and boats, and I mean, like cars
Women and boats. The death of me.
New title of the episode, ladies and gentlemen. Women
No.
and boats.
I'm saying cars and boats, whatever. They always want to blame them for breaking down, and then name them women like they're for like it, whatever.
So they'd be like, "Oh, the old B word."
Yeah,
Oh,
Betsy.
you know, Holland transmitter.
Women
Yeah.
and boats.
Women and
God,
savings and loan.
you old women and boats. So, Melanie, you would watch the revenge movie you were talking about earlier
Yes.
for this, and then you're like, "Well, that doesn't really count." So I'll watch this short.
Yes. So I watched the one movie, and then I had 15 minutes until 8 o'clock. So I was like, what can I watch in 15 minutes? And that's why Cat calls. So
Yeah, that was. So I'm thinking about getting rid of Shudder. So Shudder has been like, I appreciate Shudder, and it's one of the services that I've been paying for not that long, but I'm like, I don't use it that much. There's a couple interesting things, like particularly the documentaries on there about horror movie things, because that's the kind of crap I like to watch anyway. But I don't watch it all that often. And I'm like, Netflix, HBO Max, whatever else, Shudder. And I'm like, I so rarely watch Shudder though.
mhm.
So yeah, just saying.
Yeah, and they
What do
don't
you guys think?
they don't even have Phantasm anymore.
Say, do they add a lot of new content?
They change it often. Phantasm, Melanie, that's such a good point. Like I was on the fence because they had Phantasms, all the Phantasm movies except for 2, because that's never like whatever, different distribution must own it. And so I believe we'd mentioned before that Melanie and I have been watching the Phantasm movies. I've seen almost all of them. I actually haven't seen the last one. And Melanie hadn't seen them. So we've been slowly working our way through those. And we'd watched 2, and then it was time to watch 3, and I was like, "Oh yeah, Shudder, okay." So let's go back onto Shudder, and like they were gone, and I was like,
Boo.
"That was a straw."
Oh yeah.
It's on, by the way, if you do want to watch the Phantasm movies, 1 through 5, except for 2, is on. I think it's on Amazon Prime now.
Oh,
So, those licenses, they just jump around between the services. It's
get out your seat and jump around
jump up,
and get down.
We got weird energy. Weird energy.
Yeah, we do. We're sporadic in bursts here.
Mhm.
Jesse, do you want to go next, or do you want to go last? How you want to do this?
Bar. I can, whatever.
You know what?
I'm curious what yours is.
Yeah, you go next.
Okay. All right.
You go next.
So in the, like I was saying, like in our chat, in our pre-episode chat, in the least surprising pick of all time, Kiefer pick, Missy. I went with Missy because it's like the straw that broke the camel's back on that choice was that it's the 50th anniversary of The Master.
Mhm.
And surprise, surprise, I was listening to some Big Finish. They just put out a Big Finish Master box set that has like as many living masters as they could get. And of course, Missy's in it. And so like it's all these masters showing up to a party put on by the master. And Missy comes in and she's not invited. So like to troll all the other masters, she comes in a ridiculous disguise with a ridiculous accent that any fool could see through immediately, which I just thought was hilarious because it's like, of course she would troll like an Anthony Ainsley master with like gratuitously ridiculous costumage. But so I thought, okay, well, since I don't have time to listen to like a 5-hour box set for this episode, I'm going to go back to the big reveal of Missy in her first, the season of her first appearance, and watch Dark Water, That's the only. I only watched the first part. It's a two-parter, right?
Yeah.
Dark Water's the first part. It's the good part because Moffat hadn't learned how to stick the landing.
Ever.
He never did. Never did.
Nope.
But this first episode starts so strong. It's so strong. All sorts of things that I forget. First of all, like I love Peter Capaldi and how he opened with his doctor, not knowing who he was and being super cold and just stating things matter of fact and using like, I don't know, like human phrases that like at one point he says, go to hell. And Claire's like, that's fair. And he's like, no, we're going to hell. We're literally going to go to hell.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's confused by her reaction. Like, what are you doing? Where are you going? Because she's like ready to leave the TARDIS. So, yeah, no, there's all sorts of things that I forgot about this episode too. Like the way Danny Pink is killed. Like when I think about Danny Pink and how he exits, I think of what happens later. But like the way this episode opens with him, I mean, like spoilers, folks, if you haven't watched an episode from 2014, but he dies like at the beginning of the episode, and just matter of fact, like Clara even points out, it's like, no, it wasn't exciting at all. It was boring. He died. He had a boring. It just happened out of nowhere. Like he just gets hit by a car, and that's how the episode starts. And then Clara goes like all like super crazy conniving and like it's gonna steal all the TARDIS keys and throw them into a volcano. Like, man, sometimes Moffat just hits it. He just brings it, right? And then this, the second half happens. Yeah. And it's like, I don't ever want to talk about that episode ever again. But Dark Water was brilliant, and it gave us Missy. And the way that Missy comes onto this, like we'd been getting teases of Missy throughout that season, but then this is where we finally like get a full episode of her interacting, and we get to find out who she is. And I think people had been guessing who Missy was all along, but even then, I was just like, nah, it couldn't possibly be the master, but it was. And the first thing she does is just plant one on Capaldi, and this is back when Capaldi can't even handle hugs, right?
Right.
So where his doctor can't even handle hugs, and he has to be like, is it over? Like he asks Clara, he's like, is it over? And then the whole two hearts thing, and like it's just awesome. Like, and from the moment that we hear Michelle Gomez's voice, they do like a bad commercial for 3W or whatever, the place where they're housing all these Cybermen, but we don't know they're Cybermen until the Dark Water drops, which was a great reveal for Cybermen. One of the best reveals for Cybermen in the modern era. And then they bollocks it up in the second episode. But again, we won't talk about that. I don't know. Like Missy, I love the Master, and I love how awful the Master is portrayed sometimes. Like he's done so well and so poorly. Like I love the John Master. He can be hot garbage, but I kind of love him. Like the sound of the drums. The whole thing. He just gets like super out there. But Missy plays it. She just dances on that line effortlessly, and she can just write stupid copy and pretend she's a robot, and I'm just mesmerized. So when I think of like peak Villainesses, man, she's so good at being evil, and yet I'm also like I'm rooting for her at the same time. I feel like a good villain can almost have you cheering for them.
Yeah, and with her, it's like, because sometimes a good villain, they'll write it to where it's like they're not just evil, like they have what they feel is a good goal or whatever, an honorable goal, or at least just a desire that they really want, and you can identify with it. And that's not necessarily the case with Missy. With Missy, it's just she's so fun to watch, and that's the other kind of like good villain, is just like they're just so entertaining. You don't want them to be defeated just because it's like, and she's great. She chews the scenery in a good way. And sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and she takes like this, like the John Sim Doctor, too goofy for me, and the most recent, or not Doctor, Master, and the most recent Master kind of feels like borrows elements from them, but is, I don't know, very manic. But Missy, yeah, you're right. She just straddles the line just right to where
Mhm.
she's super over the top. And I think of, like, I think it's later episodes where she's talking about the Daleks or the dog's bullocks or whatever. It like is tickling the little Daleks weird ball things
Oh,
on it. Just like,
is that the Davros episode? Like,
yeah,
I
just
love it. Yeah, I almost
weird,
watched that one actually.
weird things. But you know, she's
Mhm.
just all over the place. But reels it in, and you know, the character feels like she's playing it up as opposed to the actress
Mhm.
feels like they're playing it up, and that kind of in itself seems a combination of calculated but also like the character's just having a good time,
Mhm.
whereas other portrayals that might get as over the top just feel like they're playing it over the top, you know.
Mhm.
Right.
I love Missy as the Master. And there's other Masters that I like too, but I really like her. And of course, yeah, it's fun. It's because she's fun and because whatever. But I think she was almost too good at it. And I know that they were using it to test the waters for making a female Doctor. And I'm not trying to bag on Jodie Whittaker because I think she's a great actress, and I don't think she's had great writing done for her. But I think Missy being so great made it harder for Jodie to do a good job as a female Doctor because Missy killed it. You know what I mean?
Well,
Yeah, tough act to follow. Absolutely.
what popped in my head when Jesse mentioned attack, or no, it was in, not Jesse, you didn't mention it. It was in one of the comments. Somebody said something about attack eyebrows. Paul said attack eyebrows, which is something they reference. They make reference in the show to Capaldi, the Capaldi Doctor with he's got the very serious eyebrows.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like that put in my head. It's like, yeah, no, like each Doctor has very distinguishable certain traits, certain things, characteristics or quirks or just things that are interesting. What's Jodie Whittaker's? The Jodie Whittaker Doctor. What
she
is
wears
it?
suspenders.
Oh,
Duh.
oh. Well, I mean, I guess the Fourth Doctor has a scarf, but like the Fourth Doctor also has so many other things. He's, you know, he's.
She says fam a lot.
Oh yeah, she
I
does.
guess that's it. Yeah,
Most of the catchphrase that she's got.
But she's a woman. I mean, you know, we have fur babies and stuff. So yeah, that's when, you know, woman like that's her fam. These are my little, you know, my
Gimmick.
cute little humans.
Oh, that is interesting, isn't it? There's that domestic aspect to like the being the fam. Okay, weird, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, I just always, I don't, you know, my whole thing with the Doctor, I don't think it's too hard to have a meaningful relationship with something whose life is so much shorter than yours. Other than, you know, like, you know, kind of a pet relationship. But pet relationships are not a small thing, you know, but it's not the same either. So that's how I feel about the Doctor and her companions. She likes pets.
Just so touching on the last episode of Doctor Who that we watched.
Mhm.
There's a bit where Yasmin and Captain Jack are having the little heart to heart and about, you know, how it's hard and whatever else, and she's like, well, how could she show me these things and then just leave and blah blah blah. And Captain Jack's like, yeah, I know. But then I'm like, in my head, I'm like, but also Captain Jack is immortal and a time traveler from the future and ran a supernatural, paranatural, extraterrestrial investigation agency. And like, yeah, no, he totally gets it, Yaz. He gets it. Sorry.
Yeah, but he did spend like hundreds of years waiting around pining for her too, which
true.
most people don't have to do.
What else has he got to do?
Die a whole bunch.
blood stop all death on Earth?
Someday he gets to become a giant head. He's got that to look forward to. Okay, so I think we should move
I feel
on.
like maybe it's best that they never told him about him being the face of Bo, or just about the face of Bo, because on the one hand, I'd be like, you should probably tell him that, and then on the other hand, it's like, don't tell him that. I wouldn't want to know if I became the face of Bo. Like, what?
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe if you just said, hey, you're going to be the face of Bo, he's like, yeah, I was already the face of Bo. You know, but don't tell him what that means.
Right. If people listening or watching at this point are not Doctor Who fans, we lost them so long ago. Yeah. They don't know what we're talking about.
I noticed that our Facebook views dropped by 2.
It's what happens when you talk about. Listen, if we bring up one Doctor Who, we're bringing up all of Doctor Who.
That's why I should have went last.
50 plus, almost 60 years of television shows, and Big Finish audio dramas, maybe comic books if we've been reading them. It's all game.
Yep.
That's what's kind of fun about Doctor Who, though. Like, are there other fandoms? I feel like hardcore Star Wars fandoms are like that, and probably why they got so angry when Disney's like, nope, all that's out the window. But I don't know. That feels somewhat unique to Doctor Who, to where canon doesn't mean anything. It's all game.
Like, because there's so much material. Yeah, I mean, Star Wars has that, but I don't even think to the level, because Doctor Who ran for so long. Yes, there was like the decades that it was gone, but like it was still going on. Like Big Finish continued. Big Finish thrived during that time.
Mm-hmm.
They made more of that kind of expanded universe content during that time, and it just never stopped.
I appreciate that there are at least a few, probably more than a few doctors. Arguably, most doctors have far more adventures through Big Finish audio drama than they did in the original run TV series.
Sylvester McCoy and Colin Baker have,
right,
man, how long ago did they quadruple their adventures via Big Finish?
Paul says Disney dumping the extended universe was a dark day, talking about Star Wars.
That's fair.
Maybe they were worried they were going to have to keep paying the people for the works that they had bought.
Now we can just sell those books as legends and it'll be fine, right?
I wonder what became of that. The hashtag Disney must pay. What a raw deal. Like, how can a big company, I know they're a big company, so they're like, we do whatever we want, buy the contracts, buy the rights in all the contracts, and just buy everything, and then be like, but we don't have to follow those contracts. We don't have to pay those people. We'll keep selling those books, but we don't have to pay the royalties to the authors. How? Like, whatever. It's crazy. Hashtag pay the writers. Yeah, exactly. I wonder if what's become of that, if anything. Probably nothing.
Probably nothing. I think I had a similar conversation with Daryl Skelton not too long ago, where he was running into that issue with DC. So it's not just specific to Disney, Marvel, right? Like, at a certain point, they want to change the contract or dump the contract entirely because it's under new management.
Right. Okay, so I guess I'll jump in. My pick was, I didn't pick my pick. Melanie picked my pick.
I did.
And she was so nervous. She was so nervous because Melanie suggested a movie to me, and I don't remember what put this in your head in the first place.
Really, it was because we had been talking about Wonder Woman 84, and I was like, here is a movie that is PG, not just PG-13, PG. It's a superhero movie The main character, the main bad guy is a villain, but not the main character. But it does women well, and it's entertaining, and it still holds up after what is it, like 15 years? It's a freaking good movie. That's superior to Wonder Woman 84, in my opinion, and it's a children's movie.
Okay, so I had never seen this, and I was on the. She kept mentioning it, and I was on the fence, and I was like, I don't know. And then I watched the trailer, and I was like, I don't know what it was about the trailer, but I was like, all right, I'll give it a try. I watched Sky High from 2005.
Oh,
I'd never seen it, and it's a Disney produced teen comedy, not like older teen, younger kid teen comedy superhero movie about basically there are superheroes, their children usually have superpowers, so when they go to high school, they go to the Sky High, which is a superhero high school in the sky. Paul says yes. So you guys know this stuff. I didn't. I mean, I'd never seen it. Dude, this is actually totally good. I enjoyed this movie quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't disagree with Melanie. I think it's better than Wonder Woman.
That's hard to argue.
I mean, initially, like, I think the look of it, I was kind of put off by, because it's still got, like, it's obviously a Disney kind of kids movie. Paul said, and sidekicks. Yes. The suits, like, it's 2005, so it's after the first couple of X-Men movies. Superhero movies are becoming a thing, but it's before, like, Disney bought Marvel, and the Marvel thing, like, budgets went crazy, and it's obviously also still, like, for kids, for teens, younger teens, whatever. It's good. The cast kind of helps. It's got Kurt Russell, as you can see there. It's got Bruce Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
Linda Carter. Yeah, that's as Melanie said, that's the connection. But basically, set in a world where superheroes are commonly known and accepted, young Will Stronghold, the son of the commander and Jetstream, tries to find a balance between being a normal teenager and an extraordinary being. And I'm going to kind of do some spoilers here. I kind of wish the trailer hadn't have given some stuff away, because a big part of the movie plays like he's not going to get powers. And so it plays like that. And he gets assigned, you're either assigned as a hero or a sidekick, and the sidekicks are like complete losers. And I enjoyed when he finally had to tell his dad that because he's hanging out with a bunch of sidekicks at his house, like they're having a study group, and he's like, good for you for hanging out with the sidekicks, like real patronizing. But I appreciated when he had to be like, they're all sidekicks because I'm a sidekick. And he'd like come out to his dad as a sidekick. And I was like, that for some reason feels like it works better than X-Men 2's Iceman or whoever it was coming out to his parents that he was a mutant. And they're like, well, have you tried not being a mutant? I feel like it's a similar gag, but done better.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the thing. Like, Melanie and I talked about it quite a bit after we watched it. It was just last night. I think what makes this movie work is the jokes are pretty good. It feels like people are having fun, and also I'm assuming the director was actually invested. It felt like a fun project that people who were working on it were actually like, okay, yeah, let's do this, instead of just like a jobber. Let's just hammer this out because product. And I could be totally wrong about that, but that's the way it seems to me.
There's a lot of people love this movie. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'd say you're probably hard pressed to find people that are just like, I just hate that movie. It was garbage. Like, I don't think I've ever met a person that's like, that Sky High movie was trash.
I just never seen it. I mean, looking at the cover, I probably wouldn't have ever watched it on my own.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not my like. Whatever. It just doesn't. It's not made to appeal to me.
Right.
It would be about.
But it does.
It would be a few more years before they started making superhero movies that look like they were made to appeal to me. But no, you're right. It did appeal to me. It's good.
Yeah.
I
told him, I was telling him before, and it kind of blew my mind that he hasn't seen it, just because I've spent a lot of my life with kids or around kids or whatever. And at certain points, you know, you end up watching, if you're around kids a lot, you end up watching the same movies over and over and over and over. And they would want to watch a movie. And the two movies that I would ever pick would be, let's watch Incredibles or let's watch Sky High. Because I could watch both of them all day long. No, I take that back. They still get annoying, but less than so than like Cars or even something good like Finding Nemo. Eventually, you're just like, somebody shoot Dory. I mean, not really, but you know.
Yeah, I get it. Keep on swimming. Whatever.
Yeah.
Paul points out in a pre-Flash, Danielle Panabaker, who it took me forever to figure out what her character's name in Flash was, because that is what her name is. Exactly.
Caitlin
in Flash. And I should be sharing the screen here. And to be honest, like when it started, that was kind of a big plus for me. I was like, oh, hey.
Yeah.
Whoa, is that kid? Crazy.
What?
Yeah.
The kid in that.
Yeah, I have seen him in other things. I was like, I don't know that I've ever seen him in anything else, but now that I see him with a little bit of stubble, yeah, I have seen him in other stuff.
Oh, was he the kid in the Forbidden Kingdom? That was a disappointment.
I don't know if I watched that.
Yes.
It's about the
Monkey
King.
Jet Li and Jackie Chan.
Yeah,
right?
Should have been incredible.
Should have been amazing.
I own it, but it's not like.
It's so Americanized.
65% is kind of generous.
It's so Americanized because it's like, well, we can't just have the story where it's kind of the martial arts fantasy. It's got to be like this kid, an American teenager, gets zapped into this fantasy land. It's like, no, we don't need that though. Mm-hmm. Whatever.
This was more genuine than the Forbidden Kingdom.
No, that genuine. Yes. Paul also said, talking with her, she said that the cast did have a blast with Caitlin, which is not her actual name, but that is what her name is to me. I'm sure actors love it when people do that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think the only criticism really that you gave was that you don't like the guy from Super Troopers.
No. Just because I'm apparently a weirdo and I hate that movie. I hate
you are a weirdo. I don't know why.
And it's got Favre or whatever.
It's French for give me an effing cola.
Okay, but no, you're right. And also, I feel like the very end, after the like actual like conflict resolution, the very end is super cheesy. But whatever, it's gonna be cheesy. Mm-hmm. And you can tell when it slips into like teenage romance drama mode, because it's like, you know, amusing scene. Kurt Russell I love Kurt Russell in this, actually. Like he's so good. He's so fun. And this just seems like the movie, the kind of movie that somebody like Kurt Russell in it, you know, going for full circle, coming back to his Disney roots, apparently, would just be like a paycheck or just, you know, just there. He's not. He's so good. You don't like Farva? I don't. Paul says, best line, I'm not Wonder Woman, you know. Of course, they had to do Linda Carter in there. They had to do a little nod.
So what did you think of the female villain?
So the female villain is actually, I don't know if I want to spoil it. I knew going in there was a female villain, obviously, because Melanie's like, female villain. well, it seems like everybody's seen this, so I will talk spoilers. So I was under the assumption, because I knew the connection to Wonder Woman was Linda Carter was in this as like the whatever principal of the school, and I knew it had a female villain. So I was like, oh, is she the female villain? I was assuming it was that, and that's not the case. It is this. Wait, which chick is it? Is it this?
No, that's the mom.
Oh,
I don't see her.
no, weird. She's like a major character in this, and she was in a bunch of stuff around that time period. It's this chick, this American Pie looking chick. I know she was. I don't think she was in American Pie, but she was in movies around that time period.
She looks like Zoe Deschanel in that picture right there.
She does. What is her name? I've got so many tabs here. Sorry. How is she not gonna like get top build cast list on here?
I don't know.
Kelly Preston. I'm just looking through a list of names now.
Oh, that was Jim Rash. I know Jim Rash.
Yeah, you couldn't tell that was him?
No, I just didn't connect him to Community. Cloris Leachman has like one scene, but she chews it up. It's pretty good. Bruce Campbell's Bruce Campbell. He's always fun. Anyway, her as a villain, it's super interesting because I actually like the concept, because she is not like a villain their age technically. She was an old villain that her dad had. Like, it plants the seeds for like, oh, like it was her mom or her dad was put away or killed by Kurt Russell. So that's the thing. And they do have another character whose dad had been put away by Kurt Russell. So like he had beef with the kid. But it turns out it's not. It's the same person, just de-aged. And I actually like, it's such a cheesy like sci-fi superhero premise, but I liked how they did that, how they set it up. There were a lot of elements of the plot. I was surprised by the twist there. That twist actually did kind of surprise me. Everything else though is pretty predictable once it's going. It's like, oh, I was figuring she was like a mole or something. Like it's pretty obvious that she's not on the level.
Yeah.
Her as a villain, I don't know. I guess it's interesting because she doesn't spend most of the movie being very villainous, but if you cast her as a villain, it is kind of against type. Because I just picture her as, I know she was in, I don't know, some horror movies around the time. She's just very much the doe-eyed, like innocent girl, like, huh? She does get a little mean girl in this for sure. And then once she goes villain, we don't really see her too much. She does have villain monologue and she does it pretty well.
That one of the things that I really liked about this when I watched it before was that they don't, if you hadn't known it was a female villain, I don't think you would have thought so. And they really do a good job of totally hiding that, I think. I mean, like, yeah, you know she's involved, but I don't think you would think that she's the big bad.
That is the twist that it pulls off pretty well.
So, what's the name? Okay, Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Okay.
Right. Is she
she's in a lot of stuff. I mean, like Scott Pilgrim and Death Proof.
That's the other one. That's why I think I picture her as like she's always like the doe-eyed, girl, because she plays the cheerleader who's like not into the car stuff, not into the stunts. She's just along for the ride, really. There, okay. Yeah, she's in tons of stuff. Wait, that was her in 10 Cloverfield Lane? Oh, interesting. Okay, well, there you go. Who was she in Birds of Prey? Oh, really? Huntress? Okay. Wow.
I guess you just don't notice her.
She seems very different now. She must have been actually pretty young in those earlier movies.
I think they all were. I mean, they were supposed to be 14. I'm guessing they were maybe not exactly 14, but they were all pretty young. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So I don't want to go go on too much about it. It's fun. I enjoyed it. Yeah, Paul even says she was in Birds of Prey. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I feel like she's lost her baby fat or whatever. Her face is I don't know how else to say it because she's clearly not fat. It's not like chubby, but she had a more roundy face, and like Huntress has a longer face, right? And that's just she's older. Her cheeks, she's got more adult woman cheeks now. Baby
Yes.
fat, right? I don't know.
No, yeah, you're right. It's just, it's just funny. But yeah,
I appreciate also that it really like leans into the 50s ridiculous sci-fi stuff. You've got a very brainiac. Well, I don't have a good picture of him here, but his head is huge. You got a very brainiac teacher guy. The gun. This is the pacifier gun, and it's very much, you got your death rays and your lasers and like whatever. They're different things. Whatever.
Yeah.
So why is this better than Wonder Woman? And I think it's because it does feel authentic. It feels genuine, and it's not trying to. There's no message. It's just fun. It's not, fun. You got your kind of typical, like, not really kind of coming of age story grafted on there, but there's no bigger message. It's just doing what it's doing, and it's enjoying itself. As opposed to something like Wonder Woman, where it wants to just do what it's doing and enjoy itself, but also say this message, but also like it just feels very not genuine doing it. So that's why this is better.
Yeah, and women in this are intelligent and powerful, and they don't need to learn a lesson necessarily or have to overcome men to be that way. They just are, and I appreciate that.
I'm glad you brought that up, actually, because I was reading about whoever wrote this, and it was written by a guy ages ago, and then they had the team, the two creators of Kim Possible, do some rewrites. They basically rewrote the beginning and the end, and then they also like intentionally hired comedians for the supporting cast to kind of like round the comedy and stuff out. But apparently, like, one of kind of their goal, or like the way they went about it, is one, that the adults are all insane, so they're all caricatures, and two, and maybe this might be offensive to some guys, I guess, the female characters are all written to be smarter than the men. And watching it doesn't feel like they're smarter than the men, but they are definitely smarter and more assertive than the men. And that comes across in a way that hadn't really occurred to me until after, like, I had read that, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, the women are handled really well. A lot of times, like, the main character is just kind of aloof, and the other guy isn't bad. They don't seem dumb, but they're just like, oh, okay. Yeah, okay, let's do that. And so it's the idea of handling women characters well, but not being like, yay, women. It's just organic. It's just the way it is. It's just the story. It never, ever brings that to your attention. And if, I hadn't read that about the way they went about writing the characters, I wouldn't even thought about it. Just like, oh yeah, no, the women are the proactive ones. But the guys are also there too. It's not like, it just handles that very well without needing to be like, we're handling this very well.
Did you notice how well we're handling it?
Look at all the female characters in the school are right there together.
Hey, you're handling this really well.
Right. It just does it. It's just like, no, this is it. This is the story. These are the characters. Yeah, great.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So, I'm surprised, first of all, that this was your pick, because I thought, let's see, if I had to guess, Randy's going to use this as an excuse to watch The Exorcist this year.
Oh God! Oh, that would have been a good one too.
You wouldn't have even had to do a rewatch if you were going to do. Is it Pamela Voorhees?
Oh yeah, Friday the Third. Yeah,
Yeah,
Friday the 13th.
So like those are the two. I was like, he wouldn't even need to do a rewatch, but he probably would.
I almost wanted to do Ragnarok, but I'm like, we just watched Ragnarok
Oh yeah,
last month, so I probably shouldn't. But she is so cool. She's like, what's his name? Aku. She's like a female Aku, and that's just so cool.
You're kind of right. Yeah.
Oh yeah, with the headgear and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I thought about Jessica Lange in American Horror Story, like just Jessica Lange, because she's kind of like she's like Michelle Gomez in that she can kind of just come in and chew scenery, and even in some of those crap seasons of American Horror Story, she can be like one of the best parts of it.
Mm-hmm.
So what makes like just as like a roundup, like what makes a good female villain then?
I'll tell you what, when Melanie pitched this idea, this definitely wasn't the collection of female villains I expected for sure. Missy is not unexpected.
Right.
And is a good, I feel like, is a good pick for a female villain that can be, really discussed.
Mm-hmm.
Sky High, I think, is a great pick because I didn't pick it. And Melanie was so worried that I was not going to like the movie. But I was so pleasantly surprised by it. But I like the concept behind the female villain in this. There's just not like
much,
the characters aren't super deep, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And Melanie, what about your villains?
My villains are like shadow people you barely see, so I don't know that they count. Honestly,
villain, but
I think the villain is more the idea of, what was that other movie that I watched last time? A Promising Young Woman, or whatever that one.
Right.
That is kind of the same idea, only way better. And of course, it's not only 9 minutes long. But I think it's less like a villain necessarily than like fear of retribution for doing something inappropriate. That doesn't even necessarily have to be something criminal, but it's more that than anything.
One thing that's interesting, looking through Shudder for something before Melanie recommended Sky High, and then also today Melanie was looking for something because she wanted Sky High just to be my pick. She's like, that's just your pick. I'm gonna watch something else. It's like, okay. And I was looking through Shudder and looking for something that's like evil women or whatever, villain women, and I'm sure there's lots that just don't point out evil women. But so many of the movies that I come across while looking for this stuff for this theme specifically are less evil women and more just revenge women.
Yeah.
Women who have been wronged,
Mm-hmm.
assaulted. God, so many are just women who have been assaulted in some way, usually the worst, and then revenge. And that's the woman-centric horror movie, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, that's kind of a bummer.
I thought about doing The Babysitter, but I feel like we've talked about The Babysitter a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one that came to mind was like Jennifer's Body. I've never seen it. I've heard it's okay.
That was one I was contemplating too. Yeah.
I haven't seen it either.
But it felt a little obvious. I don't know.
I was hoping I wanted to find something good that was like high tension. I don't know why I always talk about that one too, but that was good. It's good and surprising and scary. It had a really scary chick to me. And that's another thing that I dislike, maybe a little bit about female villains, although I get it because male villains that are suave are kind of more fun and you want to watch them more. But it always seems like female villains have to be like the big whatever. It's like they're like the evil queen, they're always wearing all this makeup and all this, crazy clothes, and their hair's wackadoo, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna, poison everybody and make everybody big craziness. Either that, or it's like Grady said, somebody that's been damaged and is fighting back for themselves.
Selena Kyle, Carrie.
They don't make them a villain. That doesn't make them a villain to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're almost more of a victim that just broke.
Right. So, and I'm like, why can't there just be a normal evil person? You know what I mean? And I mean, I'm sure there are in the world. I guess maybe I could have watched Monster, but
I'm interested to see what you guys will think of Tori with a Y in season 2 of Cobra Kai, because she's a pretty fun villain eventually.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
She's Cobra Kai, so.
Paul had said Carrie, Normie turned villain.
Mm-hmm.
Carrie is interesting because it is that. Carrie, to me, seems, even after she's murdered.
Like Carrie's mom is more the villain in that movie for me, but
Carrie still seems sympathetic to me, even after she murdered everybody in the school. At least in the
right.
At least in the 70s, Carrie. Because she went overboard. But it's like, I get it. They pushed her pretty hard, man. And I'm not saying like that's not a defense of school shooters or anything like that.
No.
But in the context of Carrie, the supernatural horror movie,
that never happened in real life.
Yeah.
I get it. She just kind of snaps and targets everybody after she's been humiliated. Wow. Wow. But the Rage Carrie 2, you ever seen that? I feel less sympathetic for her, the character in that. She's not Carrie. She's another one. It's not a good movie. But a dude gets his nards shot off with a harpoon gun at the end, and I'm like, I don't know that dude did anything to deserve that. Maybe he did. I don't remember which character it was, but I was like, that's pretty horrible. It's hard to buy me back sympathy after that.
Sorry, Paul's comment. Yeah.
Rallying cry for everyone that's been bullied. It's a feel-good movie.
Yeah, so. So what's our villain for next week?
Paul said so next week is strong female lead. So we already did that last week.
Oh.
We ragged so hard on Wonder Woman. I did do like a light edit on that last episode that went up. So if you haven't listened to the last episode, watcher, viewer, or listener, you should. Melanie went on a very healthy rant. She was feeling it. She was much more angry than I had expected talking about that, but I think it was a pretty fun episode. It's worth your visit, and I've trimmed it. I've cleaned it up a bit, so it's a little easier to listen.
What was that? Like, if you're also digging into our archives and you want more like villain talk, what was that movie where it's like, oh boy, like there's super talented violinist. It was a Netflix homework.
Right. What did we?
The Perfection. Love The Perfection. Is that what you're talking about?
Perfection. Yeah.
Maybe? Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one too.
We did that on a Nights too, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
It was either a Nights or it was a Nights or a Lunchbox. I think.
Yeah, it was super early. It might have been on Lunchbox still.
Mm-hmm.
I will find out. Hold on.
Yeah, I recommend that too. But that again is another one where, well, I guess maybe it depends on which section you're in.
Right. Like I wouldn't necessarily say it's always a villain kind of thing, but there's some twists and turns that bring it more into like the villain, the premeditated kind of realm.
This might even be, this is, I think, from before we started putting all of the live episodes on the regular podcast feed, but you can go to grawlixpodcast.com to find it. It is the Grawlix Lunchbox for June 26th, 2019. It doesn't even have like a special title. So yeah.
Oh, wow. Perfection.
perfection. Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can also search. Oh, maybe I don't have the movie info. Yeah, that was pretty early. June 26th, 2019. Yeah, that was a lunchbox because it was from like 1 p.m., 2 p.m., something like that. Interesting. What else? I think that's really all I got.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's not.
Oh.
It's not. I
Oh,
forgot.
what could possibly happen now?
I almost forgot. Just because, like, listen, New Year,
Mm.
same old stuff.
We're looking forward.
Snyder
We
Watch.
brought back Savannah. She was silent in the chat for so long. I mean, that like broke her silence.
It's back. It's back. I actually lost the story. Where'd it go? Hold on.
Oh no! Or is it?
So listen, from these past several weeks, there have been lots of Snyder Cut Justice League news, and we've skipped most of them. Currently, the last couple of days, today, yesterday, there's been a bunch of stories about Ray Fisher. He's been removed from the Flash. I'm not trash talking Ray Fisher because if he and other people were not treated well, good on him for risking his career and like speaking out. That's not the story we're going to get into because I mean
That
there's
might
not
actually be news.
kind of, yeah. But also when you straight up trash talk the company's president, what do you think's going to happen, dude? Yeah. Not saying he's wrong. I'm just saying duh. Yeah. Although it would have really been a good move, I think, for Warner Brothers to not do that because that does still look petty. It's like good PR. Don't fire the dude off the upcoming projects you had him scheduled for. Anyway, that's not the story we're doing. Oh, Paul, dude, you know. Paul says, tell me the big story isn't Martian Manhunter. Paul, the big story is our favorite kind of story to do about the Snyder Watch.
It really is.
Cut, as in, totally useless story.
Yeah.
So, breaking from a couple days ago. Kind of. Harry Lennox reveals he is Martian Manhunter in Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Mind blown.
What?
Mind blown.
We had no idea. And if we did, we certainly didn't have no idea before Batman v Superman was even made and released. It seems like news that that character was actually Martian Manhunter might have dropped around the time, I don't know, just after Man of Steel came out years and years ago. We know. Not only did we know at that point, we've known since before Snyder Cut was like properly announced when Zack Snyder released storyboards of him. It's like Martian Manhunter. And it's that character. And it's like, well, yeah, we know, Zack. And now we know again. We just keep learning.
It's confirmed now. So
it's confirmed again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the story ran 3 months ago too. Like it's
at least we know now though that they didn't hire somebody else to come in and record new parts for the Snyder Cut of an old movie.
Right. So I was kind of not gonna do, because we're not doing React at the News to keep the episode shorter. And I was like, we don't need to do Snyder Cut. And I was like, but I mean, let's search something up. And then I see that and I was like, we're doing it. We are doing it. That is such a pointless.
Paul calls it from the chat.
Yes, you do, Paul. You do, which confirms these are the kind of hard-hitting, late-breaking stories that Paul wants us to keep doing for Snyder Watch.
Yes, I mean, yeah, confirmed.
You just confirmed.
Yeah,
I was on the fence. I was like, 2021, we're looking forward. Maybe we don't need more Snyder Watch. Nope. We're going to look forward at Snyder Watch.
yeah. You got to have something to look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
See this? We knew it had been rumored. This is Man of Steel. When did Man of Steel come out? 2013. 2013.
Yeah. Older than Missy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Glad I could help facepalm. All right. Okay. That was a bit of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And it was.
Mm-hmm.
WandaVision. When is that happening?
It's supposed to be coming out soon, right?
Yeah. I'm very curious about what that show is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not anticipating anything as great as the Vision, that crazy Vision series.
Right.
Like mini series or whatever it was that
did you ever finish that?
No.
It's so good. Front to back. It was a good run.
Audio listeners in the future, if you're wondering, like, why WandaVision? Why? The article we had pulled up on the side, there was a thing about WandaVision. WandaVision. I said Wonder, huh?
Yeah, you did.
Is Wonder Man in that? I heard rumblings that maybe.
I know they're all gonna eat Wonder Toast.
Ooh, Wonder Bread.
Wonder Bread. I can't even get that right. I can't even make the.
If you toast the Wonder Bread, it's Wonder Toast. I knew where you were going.
Right. Hey, Melanie.
Yes.
What should we be amazed about?
Zombie Star.
Zombie Star?
Star.
Okay, thank God.
Whoa, I thought you was like Zombie SARS.
No, Zombie Stars. They were looking up in the sky with their telescopes, and two what do you call those things? Hold on, let me look.
While you're looking, Paul had said about the story we had just done. This is tantamount to Loki will be in the Loki series. Right.
He's got a name. It's Tom Hiddleston.
It's Loki.
Loki.
Or it's High Rise Guy. Anybody see that movie? It was weird.
Was that Only Lovers Left Alive? Have you seen that? That's Tom Hiddleston as a vampire and Tilda Swinton as a vampire. Both MCU alum.
Tilda Swinton, and by the way, Melanie mentioned Thor Ragnarok villain. What's her name? Starts with C. The character, the actress.
Oh, Kate Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett. We decided because a while ago we watched the
Massive Attack.
What?
Oh, sorry. I thought it was like the Massive Attack video.
Well, we do. We do every 6 months or so. We watch that Massive Attack video with the lady dancing in the subway. But God, my mind is mush today. The remake of the Italian movie Suspiria. Yes.
Okay.
Anyway, it's got Tilda Swinton, and we're like, I think Tilda Swinton and Kate Blanchett are the same person. I'm like the same person because they both like to play movies where they play multiple roles, and they like to play movies where they play the complete, like they'll play a man, or they'll play this, or they'll play a ancient Asian, whatever. Like they're kind of pretentious in the roles that they pick. Because if you didn't know, if you haven't watched the Suspiria remake, Tilda Swinton plays a character in there, regular woman character. She also plays an old man character who's like in through the whole thing. Real weird. I kind of wish I didn't know because if I would have, it's pretty good makeup, but knowing I could kind of tell. Anyway, so we were talking about how, so which one is the real them? Because I think I think Tilda Swinton is Kate Blanchett or the other way around. And they've just been playing like that's the ultimate like role within a role.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's
It's like she's Andy Kaufman in us.
she's Andy Kaufman.
Oh man,
he didn't die.
I'm blown.
And she's also Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
And Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
He likes to play movies where every
everybody in the movie.
Okay, I'm going on. So zombie stars these found a zombie star, which was 2 white dwarf stars, which are like the cores basically of stars as they're dying. And these 2, or I should say one of the stars slammed into the other one and gave it enough fuel so that it like flared up. But now it's like burning up and creating heavy metals, and it's giving off this like sick green color, and it's like huge. So these 2 dead basically stars merged together to become one big weird giant like undead star, and it's kind of awesome.
Oh, like in true zombie form, it's consuming other stars.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Zombie Star is pretty cool. Is that how like the Marvel zombies and all that? Is that how that starts? Zombie Star.
Probably. Yeah, and then when it starts to die and it doesn't have any stars by it, it turns into a comet and flies by, and then the gases. No.
Yeah, and that's Night of the Living Dead right there.
Yeah, no, it's just kidding. But yeah.
Other zombie news, just because it made me think of it. Pete Mitchell has been we've had on the show twice, and we've mentioned him a few times. He just put out like a newsletter or whatever, his email thing. He used machine learning to teach like AI to have a computer like draw his zombies, because he like draws all sorts of zombies and paint zombies and stuff. And so he used AI to create some zombie pictures, and they're crazy and kind of awesome. So
I had seen some tweets of his or a tweet of his. I don't know how far into the process he was, but he was basically, he was training a machine learning program or whatever service to basically like learn his style.
Right.
So it's machine learning interpretation of his style. I haven't seen the zombie stuff, so I'll have to look.
Yeah, like some of them look like other zombies that he's done, just with like bits, maybe just like kind of just like it's almost like if you had distressed one of his paintings or something, so like parts are missing. But then there's other ones where it's like kind of like faces twisted into other faces, and it's like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. He does interesting stuff. He all the time. He's put so much. I don't know how he does it. How does he have time to do it? Like he'll. I'll watch a video where he's like, "Oh, I got this new plugin. It just makes a weird thing, and now I'm gonna make a little like 3-minute long song, and with this weird sounding plugin, audio plugin." And I was like, "That's awesome, man! I would listen to like a whole album of that sound right there." And then he's like, machine learning in my style zombies, and he's like, here's a music video of me in the desert, just everything.
Right. Then he'll do a drone footage video or
right. He's a cool guy. I like him.
Yeah, check him out, daspd.com.
I think it's maybe him and Elon Musk are like brain children. They never sleep.
Right. He's like, there's like somebody's doing like experiments on personalities and stuff, and like they're two different versions. He's like, well, we're gonna channel like the interesting creativity over to Pete, and like the weird like entrepreneurial
The hustle. Well, no, I mean, like Pete's got a lot of hustle too, but like, yeah,
He
I know what
must.
you mean.
How else does he have
People are
time
like
and money to afford
startup,
it?
financial guru.
Yeah.
Pete's not weird. Like Pete's down to earth though. Elon Musk is on Mars already.
Right.
I know he wants to go die on Mars. He's already there.
Yeah.
I've edited a couple episodes. I can't. I don't think I could talk about what they are, but I've edited podcast episodes that are interviews with his mom. Like at least I've edited her
Elon
on like
Musk's mom.
yeah, like on 2 or 3 other podcasts. I've edited her on multiple shows. She does a lot. She gets around. She does a lot of interviews and stuff. She was a model when she was younger, but she's kind of she's very active. She's kind of a celebrity of her own in her own right. Kind of. That sounds very demeaning. She is, but I just think it's weird. Like of all people, it's like I've edited interviews for work, like on her, of her for many different shows.
Mm-hmm.
She's a strange lady too. Pretty interesting though.
So you know what else is strange?
Who?
Us. You.
When you're a stranger.
That's true.
Were you gonna say? Do you know?
Yeah. No.
Paul, I was going there and I tried to course correct, and that's not.
I almost called you on it, but I thought, he's going. He's leaving that in the dust.
I was trying not to. That wasn't my goal.
Mm-hmm. Let's try not to anger the richest man on the planet right now.
Yeah, listen. No kidding. Elon Musk just became the richest man. He surpassed Bezos.
Wow.
Let's not make fun of. Not that we're making fun of her, but let's not make jokes about his mom.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. His music, on the other hand, have you heard his music? He released a track a while back. It sucked. It was not good. He is not Pete Mitchell. Pete Mitchell got the good musical stuff.
Don't anger the richest man on the planet. His music is awful.
It sucks. No, it's just like he released something, and I know like a bunch of things were like, oh, he just dropped a track. Is it fire? It wasn't. It was very just bland, stereotypical like Euro techno beat, I guess. It was whatever. Good on. I was like, Elon Tusk makes music. Musk.
Tusk is a Kevin Smith movie, but now I want to see that mashup. Elon Tusk.
I'm done. I've got nothing coming up. I'm not sure what we're gonna do next week. Melanie got me in the mindset to read a bunch of Invincible, because Sky High is very much like Invincible.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll start revisiting Invincible. I don't know, but I don't know what we're doing next week. We'll figure it out. I need to stop.
We'll let you know when we know.
What do you guys? You guys got anything to end this on? You got anything?
I'm actually going to be recording an episode with Lee Searcy of Covert Nerd. We're going to talk about Cobra Kai. That's real weird, right? I did an episode with them. What was that? 2 years ago. That's how long I had to wait for season 3. All y'all who are complaining that you have to wait a whole year for season 4. Yeah, so we're finally going to revisit Cobra Kai and Karate Kid universe over on the Covert Nerd for season 3 talk. So I don't know when that will come out, but we'll let you know.
God, when we had Dustin Smothers on to talk about season 1. That was literal years ago.
Years ago.
Whoa. Yep. That reminds me, we've got anniversary coming up. We got anniversary Grawlix coming up.
Okay.
Anniversary of episode 100, or
we surpassed the anniversary of what would have been.
We're gonna start celebrating that one too. We're like, this is our 100th versary.
The episode 100 pre-show was over a year ago. Easy.
Oh wow.
I don't know what happened.
I get it.
I don't know what happened.
Working on it.
I feel like I don't know what happened. I feel like that episode got lost in time or something.
It's possible. I wonder who could be behind removing that episode, the evidence of that episode from
There was a bunch of weird messages and stuff on the Facebook page and stuff around that time
Who
period.
could possibly benefit from removing all evidence of wrongdoing?
Hashtag release the 100 cut.
100 watch.
That's how we're going to generate hype.
Yep.
All right. That's all I got. Thanks everybody. First, thanks co-hosts.
Thank you.
It's
Yeah.
great.
It was a fun time.
It was a mess. You guys did good though. Listen, we can't have big energy every episode, okay?
No.
2020 was the hottest year. It surpassed 2016, which was previously the hottest recorded year. So,
And that's also the year that the Earth spun the fastest that we know of.
what?
The Earth spun the fastest that we've ever recorded last year. Also,
Sweet. We're getting hotter and we're going faster.
Yep.
What could go wrong?
Even the Earth was like, "No, we're getting out of it."
You know, when engines run really hot and they go too fast, great things happen.
Yep.
We're on fumes, everybody. That's all we're saying. Earth is well.
If you got things you want to experience with this life, you better do them soon.
They refuse to do the oil change, so
Is that right? Literally steal the oil out of the engine.
that's why you gotta leave it in there.
Yeah.
There's our political for this episode.
We did it.
All right. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks everybody for listening now, in the future, and in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I almost put past and present together. Randall Sylvie has become unstuck in time. Fahrenheit 451, by the way. Great book.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.